He couldn't remember the last time he'd been properly hungover. Overindulgence was not his style. He'd walked back to the Gold Nugget Motor Lodge with a sway in his step, the 5 or 6 shots worth of liquor in those drinks like a bender to a normally temperate man, to a man who craved self-discipline. He'd escaped, slipping out of range of a cat's batting paws, before he could find out what Raina might want out of him. Would that have ended with Duncan's body wound in her sheets? Or did her pleasure come merely from her ability to wind him up? She had far too much control over him, and control was a commodity Duncan treasured above all others. So rather than follow the flirtation to its natural conclusion, he'd headed to the motel, popped a couple of Ambiens and more than a couple of ibuprofens, and woken up with a brass band playing in his skull, and chores beckoning. Always chores. The bathroom fan whirred all around him, and the world was speckled laminate and smooth white acrylic. His knees hurt, the towel-thin bath mat and his lounge pants doing nothing to protect them from the biting tile. But he wasn't bowed before the toilet, sick from the vodka. No, he was sick in a far different and deeply familiar way. His shoulder ached, and his lower back, and he felt high from the bleach. But that was good, surely. Meant the stuff was doing its job. He scrubbed at the plastic tub. Plastic, worst. Porcelain would be so much easier to disinfect. Plastic never felt clean enough to trust. Never. Degrading though these chores were, the calm was coming to him now. The fumes and the ritual were subsuming him, quieting his brain, banishing the panic and the pulsing headache. He could hear his bygone foster mother's voice in his head, that soft, cultured accent offering the only kind words he'd known in the first half of his life. "Look at that. You cleaned that all by yourself. What did I do to deserve such a good helper?" To deserve him. Insane, those words had seemed. Insane and wondrous as a choir of angels after 10 years of being called a burden at every turn. 13 measly months he'd gotten with his silver-haired savior. Then she'd been taken away, her kind voice and eyes hollowed out by a stroke that had scared Duncan worse than any slap or threat issued by his harsher guardians. She was gone as quickly as she'd appeared, and Duncan had been dropped neck-deep back into the shit of the foster system. Just over a year she'd given him, 1 good year, and a fondness for Wagner, and this compulsion to clean when he felt uncertain. He scrubbed harder, so hard that it roused the perennial ache in his right elbow, cartilage whining. Repetitive strain injury, a doctor would tell him. Whatever you're doing, knock it off. Same as a doctor would tell a masochist to quit with self-flagellation, and those raw red stripes would clear right up. Yes, because that's going to happen. He might as well give up breathing while he was at it. The bucket was just about empty, the scrubber sponge shedding blue flecks. He braced his rubber-gloved hands on the edge of the tub and shakily made it to his feet, joints wailing. He turned on the shower to rinse his handiwork. Clean. Pretty damn clean. The tub was shining. The sink, too, the mirror spotless, and the grout between the mint-green backsplash tiles whiter than it had been since the Carter administration, surely. No surface neglected, no room for oversight. The plastic would never be perfect, but by anyone's standards, no trace of this tub's former sins had been spared. He felt marginally cleaner himself. Satisfied, he snapped the gloves from his hands and draped them over the rim of the empty bucket. He washed his hands once, twice, 3 times, rinsed the sink. He flipped off the light, but left the fan on to suck at the fumes. He eased the bathroom door open a couple of inches, peering out and finding his roommate predictably planted at the threshold. "Keep out, Astrid. Bad enough your daddy's disinfected half his brain cells. Let's keep one of us lucid." With a gentle push of his foot, the tabby gave up her post, rising to stretch and saunter toward the bed. Duncan shut the bathroom door at his back and gulped 2 lungs' worth of comparably fresh air. He wandered to the edge of the bed and switched on the television, greeted by the regional news.